All right, welcome everyone to the last episode of 2025. It's been a year. So today we're recapping the biggest moments. Haiti's rise, PSG finally getting done. Alain favorite subject, Messi doing Messi things. Chelsea grabbing its the first expanding club World Cup and what 2026 is about to bring. Before we get started, Alain, happy holiday.
Man, happy holiday to you, coach, and to everybody who's watching us. Like I said, 2025 has been filled of excitement and new developments. I think it's been a great year for the sport. I think personally, I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. I've been excited to have those conversations, those debates, to share those emotions with you this year. And I think overall the fans had a wonderful year watching some great soccer and also enjoying to see all those great players displaying their talent on a weekly basis. So thank you for the opportunity, coach, and can't believe it's been a year already, man. It's a great accomplishment.
I know, man. 2025 went so fast, and there was a lot going on in 2025, as you mentioned. And has fans of the beautiful games, we got what we deserve, right? A lot of great soccer, a lot of great tournaments, and so before we get into it, so Alan, what was your moment of the year? Even
Well, the moment of the year, man, was Haiti qualifying for the World Cup. I mean, I cannot stretch that more. I mean, it's been a long journey since 1974. I know we dreamt about it. You planted a seed a long time ago, coach. You told us if we are going to go to the World Cup, 2026 will be that World Cup. And honestly, I didn't believe you. I have to give you credit, but you saw it since day one. You saw a path to qualifications. You saw a path to victory for us. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised to see that we had that opportunity. So for me, I think Haiti qualifying for the World Cup next year has been the greatest thing for me personally.
No, no, you're right. I mean, that was my biggest moment of the year. Obviously, there was a lot of great moments happening this year, especially with the rise of Lamine Yamal. What he's done in 2025, and I'm talking strictly from a football fan.
Mhm.
And but for me, the biggest moment is Haiti qualifying for the World Cup. So since we're talking about Haiti qualifying for the World Cup, so you know, from a Haitian perspective, is Haiti qualifying for the World Cup is bigger than football.
Yes, yes, definitely is bigger than football. I think, and not only because we just made it, it's because it's when it happened, right? Haiti qualifying for the World Cup now. I think it's bigger than football, and I think the symbolism behind this qualification and the struggles and honestly being honest with everybody else, the challenges that we face back home, the political climate, the stability, the disarray that's happening right now. I think right now soccer is honestly the only thing that's keeping us together. That's giving us the hope that we need as a nation. Um, to continue to fight our fight, right? I think Haiti qualifying for the World Cup. I think if we didn't qualify for that World Cup next year, it would have been a whole different conversation. I think this qualification brings a lot of light, puts us out there in front of the world, not only to talk about soccer, but also to share what's been happening back home, right? It's a great opportunity, I think, for our leaders and every single Haitian out there to use this moment, to tell our story, to change the perception, to rally our people around a common cause. So definitely, I think it's a unique opportunity. I think it's a lifetime opportunity to change the direction of where we're heading as a nation, and to use that moment, not make it about soccer, but make it bigger than soccer.
No, I agree with you. Haiti qualifying to the World Cup is bigger than football, especially in the fashion that we qualify, right? As you
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, everything that's going on with the country. Those guys never play a game at home. they have to use Curacao has their home field and can play any game at home. So yes, you're absolutely right. It's bigger than football, and with everything that represent, when it comes to Haiti, and also the way Haitians love football, right? So it's part of a culture, right? Football, and it's part of a culture, just like music is part of a culture. So and to be able to have that accomplishment and that big achievement, and also not even qualifying, even drawing, a country like Brazil in the same group. So
Yeah.
it's a perfect scenario for Haiti. But yeah, you're right. It's very symbolic, with Haiti going into the World Cup, since we haven't been in a World Cup since 1974. I was very optimistic when I saw, the three host nations were USA, Mexico, and Canada. And I was like, man, this is it, man. This is the best opportunity for Haiti, to qualify to the World Cup, especially with the World Cup being in the United States, with all the Haitians that live in abroad. So I was like, man, that was the best opportunity for Haiti to qualify for the World Cup, especially if we don't have to face, the Mexico, the USA, and the
Mhm.
Canada of the world in the qualifying stage. So I was like, that was it for us. If we don't make it, it's never gonna happen. So I'm glad that the men rose up to the challenge. They made it happen. So now, hey, we a World Cup team. We
We
can,
are. We are. Yes, indeed.
yeah, we can say it, man. We are a World Cup team, and we can't wait for next year, to represent and to see how the country gonna fare. But also, there were some good things that happened. Obviously the women, they went to a World Cup, and last year. The boys, the U17, they also went to the World Cup this year as well too. So we've been planting those seeds, for the last decades. But that was the ultimate goal, right? For the men national team to qualify for the World Cup, and they did it. So yes, it's bigger than football. Football always gonna be what we talk about, but for us as Haitians, it's more than football, and we are very proud and very excited to be part of the 2026 World Cup. So, but let's kind of shift, uh, our conversation a little bit, and go to Europe. So also one thing that happened this year for the first time is PSG winning the Champions League, and Dembélé also winning the Ballon d'Or. So what would you think about that?
I think that's another great story, Coach, for soccer, football around the world. I think the fascinating story about PSG is the fact that that's a team, that lost again all their star power. You had Suarez, right? You had Neymar, you had Messi, you had Mbappe. All those guys left the team, and all of a sudden you started seeing a lot of new players getting together, putting their ego aside, and with right leadership, right coaching, they were able to win multiple trophies that year, and especially the European Championship Cup, which was something that they were seeking for years and years. Dembele has been the leader, has been the captain of the team, has been the the fuel in that engine driving this effort. And I think for the first time, I was very, very, very proud. I feel like it was well deserved. I feel like the prior year, Vini was cheated of the Ballon d'Or, and I think they redeemed themselves by making Dembele the Ballon d'Or because he has earned it. That because he's Dembele, that because he made a mistake last year. I think Dembele has proven himself as a relentless leader and one of the main reasons why PSG went all the way in 2025 and won the cup.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Dembele winning the Ballon d'Or was very deserving. He played really well for PSG, especially a couple games stood out, like the games against Liverpool, when PSG kind of come back and win the whole thing, and the way Dembele imposed his will on that team was remarkable. And PSG as a whole was a very good team. When you're looking at it, that little kid Due,
Oh yeah.
that was his coming out party. It was very good, and Vitinha had a very good game on the midfield.
Hmm.
So Fabian Luis as well too. Played really well for PSG. So PSG as a and Luis Enrique, we gotta give big shout out to Luis Enrique to the way that he put the team, make the team play as a unit instead of a bunch of superstars playing for their names, right? So he did a really, really great job coaching that team. Even when they came for in the U.S. for the FIFA World Cup, even though they lost in the final, but when you talk about it, they they've been winning. I mean, they've been winning, and they've been winning a lot. So and kudos to Luis Enrique to put a great team together. And as you mentioned, I have a soft spot for Dembele because he's a former Barcelona player. So I was happy to see him winning, especially when what he went through at Barcelona, especially with a lot of injuries. He could play. Lost his confidence a little bit. Could play the way that he wanted to play, and to finally get him back and then play in that fashion and put the team on his back. I mean, so let me ask you a question. So if you feel like, I mean, I know Dembele won the Ballon d'Or. Let's say if you were to trade, if you would put another star on that team, would the team still win the Champions League or not?
I think so. I think so. I think if you kept the team as is and you put another star and that gives them more manpower. But I think the team won. I know we like to blame the stars for everything
Hmm.
that goes wrong when a team doesn't win. But I think what Luis Enrique did this year, he changed the entire culture of the team. And what I saw with that team, there was no selfish players. You had a
Yeah.
bunch of folks that were not well known, I will say. Like I'm talking from a fan perspective, right? And I really
Hmm.
had to see new players stepping up, young players stepping up. They were different from those names that we're accustomed to. And
Yeah.
seeing those guys step up the plate, sharing the ball, following a game plan, and being totally unselfish, I think that's what made the difference this year for that group. And I think if you had a new star added to that group and the team could work as a team and tell them, hey, this is how we play. You got to fit into the culture. I think the team would have been as successful as they were this year. Now, if you take out like 504 guys and you put 504 new stars, then you
Hmm.
start having ego issues. People want to show off. They want to have likes. They want to be that one scoring the most goals. Then it changes the dynamic. But I think the team as is, you add another star, I don't think would have made a difference.
Good. One thing that we want to also talk to our fans, our viewers. Obviously, we have a YouTube channel with Football Unfiltered. Also, now as of yesterday, we also live on Spotify. So Spotify podcast. So if you want to catch those episodes, those previous episodes, so we also on Spotify. It's Football Unfiltered. So subscribe to a channel, to a podcast channel, so you can still see the Football Unfiltered for 2025. We got 2026 coming up for season two, so we excited about that. But yeah, speaking of PSG, yeah, you are correct. With when Luis Enrique, the kind of job that he did with the team. Uh, yeah, I agree with you. Even though Dembele won the Ballon d'Or, because usually people said, the Ballon d'Or is it's the guy that was above everybody else. But I think the way Dembélé had said Dembélé, the way that Luis Enrique has the team playing, I don't know if we would say that they would have won it, but I think that if you have a well-known stars that also is a team player, they
Hmm.
could have done it. So Ale, I know Neymar used to play with the team. So would Neymar would have won the Champions League
Oh wow,
with that
you
team?
really that's a low blow, man. You did all this to
Just
put Neymar into this conversation. I was not expecting that kind of question. I think yes, I think if Neymar were on the team would have won. You know why? Ask me
mhm.
why.
Why?
Because he would have been on the bench. That's exactly how he would have won the game. He will be on the bench, learning how to play as a team, right? And learning for young soccer players and learning from Dembele. So yeah, he could have won. Maybe we'll have more likes and more superstardom. Perfect. But he would have been on the bench. That I can guarantee you that. There's no
Oh,
way Luis Enrique would have started Neymar, this year. No way.
I, I, I don't know. I don't know. You think too low of Neymar, man.
I
Neymar
do.
could.
I do. You like
You
you
think,
like players that do titoton. Titoton means people that like shoot the ball, trying to be fancy, try to embarrass other players, and they haven't won anything really. Hasn't won a World Cup. So for me, he hasn't earned the right, to be arrogant on the field. And that's the problem. He hasn't
actually,
displayed the leadership needed on the field, and he hasn't demonstrated the maturity needed off the field. That's my problem with Neymar. His lack of maturity. He doesn't understand his purpose. He doesn't understand that he has a lot of players that are looking up to him, and he's unable to carry the weight, you know, of a team on his shoulders. He thinks about himself. He's a selfish, wealthy player. He has skills, but he's not World Cup material. And I hope that they don't pick him on the team this year. I hope so. Hope not.
Ale, Ale. What can I do, man? What can I do, Ale?
Am I
Uh,
wrong? Am I wrong? You tell me if I'm wrong.
Listen, you are absolutely wrong. Neymar is a world class player. So no, here's where I am with Neymar. Neymar's been injury prone for the last couple of years. I think that's one of the things that it kind of stop him. I mean, he's getting older. He's in his 30s now, and when you have a lot of injuries, especially leg injuries, and for a soccer player it's a death penalty, right? So that's one thing about Neymar. So he can get back into shape because of all the injuries. But when Neymar is at his best, I mean, we're talking about 2015 Neymar, even 2016, 2017 PSG. When Neymar, no, I'm just saying, when
That's a
Neymar,
decade ago, coach. We're
ah,
talking about a decade ago.
I,
10 years. You know what?
I'm
What were
just
you
saying.
doing 10 years ago? You know what you were doing? I don't remember. What were you doing?
I don't know. But what I'm
Okay.
saying is when Neymar is at his best, I don't know if he will ever be at his base, because he's older and then he's been having a lot of injuries. But if Neymar can at least recoup, let's say 80% of where he used to be as far as playmaking ability. I don't think what we got from Neymar when he was dribbling everybody. I mean, what he did in the 2022 World Cup, he almost took Brazil to the semifinal. For some reason, Brazil forgot to play defense and give one goal. But Neymar was the one that scored a goal to put him in semifinal. And all of a sudden they forgot to play defense and let Croatia equalize. And then we know what happened next. But what I'm saying is, if he can get back to his the way he plays, to start having fun and stay injury free, I think that, like I said, the next couple of months gonna tell us a lot. I know that he just had a surgery now, so the next couple of months will tell us a lot of how he's gonna get back into it and see how he's gonna play. But man, boy, you gotta give Neymar more respect, man. Absolutely.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
'Cause you always like to go back to 2022. You say, "Oh my God, Brazil stopped playing defense. He almost made it to the semifinals." Because we already know how the World Cup ended in 2022.
Yeah.
If that's where you're trying to head, perfect. All right, you guys won the World Cup. Argentina won the World Cup. My question to you, my
No.
question to you, sir. Let me ask you a
Yes.
question. Would you trade Neymar for Messi in 2022?
Neymar for Messi?
Yeah, if I tell you today, like I say, hey man, we're gonna make Neymar an Argentinian, so he could play for Argentina. We're gonna
Yeah.
make Messi a Brazilian, so he could
Yeah.
play for Brazil. Would you accept that trade?
The only reason I would not accept that trade because Messi is more when it comes to injury. Messi's been lucky so far that he hasn't been hurt a lot, and that's the only thing. But I think from and let's think about it. Messi for so many years until 2022, everybody said Messi was not a good leader, right? Messi was not a good leader. So that's what I'm saying. I think when it comes to leadership, it comes with winning, right? So once you win, everybody say, "Oh yeah, he was always a good leader. He was just quiet. He just do everything on the field." But for so long, everybody was like, they don't think Messi would ever because he's not a good leader. He's too quiet. He doesn't show a lot of feistiness or whatever it is. But that's
You
what
still
happened.
haven't answered my question. You're saying a lot, but you're not saying
Just
much.
tell me. I just told
Would
you
you
because the
trade?
point.
All right,
Be,
2026. If I tell you, give me Neymar, give me Messi, I'll give you Neymar on your national team. Would you
yeah.
go with the trade now?
What I'm saying is the only reason I would not take the trade because Neymar has not been healthy. But if Neymar was healthy, I would take a younger Neymar than Messi in 2026.
Oh my God! But obviously, so how about let's you want to play? You
I
want to be the smart.
understand
You want to
because
be
he's
smart, all right?
younger.
Let's
He's
take
younger.
a younger Messi and a younger Neymar.
No,
Which
no.
player would you take?
No, a younger Messi and a younger Neymar. There's no doubt, man. Messi is the goat for a reason, right? But what I'm
Oh my
saying
God,
is,
yeah, he's the goat
what
now.
I'm
All right,
saying
so
is,
that's my point. Thank you, sir. It
no, it's
takes
not your point.
forever
What
to
I'm
get
saying is,
you.
you
You
asked
want
me
me
in
to trade you
2026.
a younger Neymar for an older Messi? Really?
Did
Makes
you
no
see?
sense.
Did you see what Neymar did against Argentina in the Copa America in 2021? This dude was a one man army. Almost beat Argentina by himself. What I'm saying is, if I have a healthy Neymar, I'm talking about 2026. If I have a healthy Neymar going into the World Cup, I would prefer him because he's younger. That's what I'm saying.
What if they were both the same age?
Messi.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Game
All right.
over. It's
All
a
right,
wrap.
man. Let's go back. Let's come back here to one of the top 10 most watched league in the world, the MLS. So I know. No, seriously,
God, it's a messy
seriously.
day.
So
Today's gonna be a
it's not
messy
a
fest,
no, it's
man.
not a
It's
messy day.
unbelievable.
No, it's not a messy day. We're talking about 2025 recap, right? So one other thing that happened in 2025, Messi wins the MLS. So I know how you feel about Messi. So I'm not gonna kind of talk about that particular point. But from a popularity standpoint, or from a so what do you think that meant for the MLS to have somebody like Messi in the MLS?
Oh, it's a huge deal. I think Messi winning the MLS has been the biggest thing that has happened to the MLS since its inception. I think it's a great thing for U.S. soccer, actually. I think Messi was able to commercialize the MLS, therefore soccer in America, in a way that we've never seen before, right? I think
Mhm.
you're not only seeing a larger audience, watching the game now, but what you're seeing a lot of major investments being done. Miami is building their own soccer field. That's a multi-billion-dollar investment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a huge investment being made right now.
Yeah,
This wouldn't happen if Messi wasn't in Miami. You have other players that are interested in coming over. You're seeing a lot of those games being broadcasted. I think the World Cup, one of the reasons why those World Cup tickets are so expensive, to be honest with you, I think is because you have a phenomenon happening here. I think a lot of people are watching soccer here. There's a higher demand for
yeah,
those World Cup prices, and I have to give it for Messi. Messi and his team, they found a way to commercialize his brand in a way where we've never seen this. We had a lot of older players that used to come and retire in the MLS, but we never had so much bang for the buck here. But what you're
yeah,
seeing here, it's a full transformation. I think the MLS won more than Messi. I think Messi has been able to establish himself in America in a way that if he had gone to play with Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia, I don't think he would have been that famous now. I think Messi is a well known brand, but I think his brand is more structured. I think his brand is more pronounced. I think he overall wins. Yes, Ronaldo may be the wealthier player now. He may be worth 1 billion, $1.2 billion, whatever his value is today. But I think
yeah.
in the long run, Messi's going to surpass that number by a lot more dollars. So, yes, totally agree. Messi winning the MLS, Messi moving here in Florida, Messi moving to America has benefited soccer in America, the MLS, FIFA. Everybody is cashing on Messi right now. Everybody. They wouldn't admit it, but that's what's happening.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. Hey, I agree with you on that one. But the only thing that I see for me is I don't think I don't know. Maybe it just me talking. For I'm afraid that life after Messi, how the MLS would be, because Messi is 38 years old. So I know he resigned with Miami until 2028, which is 23 years from now. So he will be 41. So I don't even know if he's gonna play till his turn 41. But I know that just like you mentioned earlier, Miami is building a multi-million stadium. So yeah, this is great. Now they got Messi, but I'm very concerned about how the team's gonna. I said not the team, how the league gonna look like after Messi. So, because one thing I realized that with Messi being here, especially if you're looking at a team like Inter Miami, there's not a lot of you know stars like from like young American stars coming out from the MLS. So so that's one thing that for me I was just like, okay, what's next? Who's gonna be the next player they're gonna bring here or they're gonna bring up, into the ranks? Is gonna be the next person that they're gonna capitalize on because, like I said, you building a big stadium in Miami and Messi is going in 3 years. Who's gonna put? Miami tickets were like $10. It used to be $10. Now they like $200. So what's life after Messi gonna look like? So that's the only thing that I feel like there's not a lot. I mean, I feel like the league is commercializing Messi. They all on Messi, 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 Messi. He's getting all the commercials he get. Yeah, which is he deserves it. But at the same time, now that you have the exposure of the world, now the world is watching you. Now they were saying that the MLS was the second most watched league after the EPL. I know that's the Messi effect, but are you taking that opportunity to also rise up some other players, some young American players, to get that exposure. So now, it's just like, so if I'm looking at the NBA, for instance, or the NFL, right? even though Tom Brady was doing his things, but they'd be like, yeah, we got Patrick Mahomes. We have those guys. So the leagues is in good hands, right? So same thing with the NBA, even though they have LeBron and all those guys, but they have some up and coming talent. They say, yeah, when LeBron retire, the league gonna be in good hands. The NBA is still gonna be in good hands. But I don't feel that with the MLS.
I have
I
a
feel,
recommendation. I have a recommendation for the MLS actually, and I'm sure you will agree with that recommendation.
yeah,
I think it's actually genius. I think I should be paid for that. I think I would recommend that the MLS contacts Neymar, who currently plays in Brazil, and bring him back since he's so talented and he's worth a lot and he loves the superstardom. He loves to make money. Bring Neymar over. You know, let him play a few years there and then see what happens. Because
I
honestly,
mean,
and
yeah,
hopefully,
I agree with you to bring in some talent, but you gotta think about it. We have to look in at who they're gonna pass the baton to. Like
Neymar.
Neymar is like he's not. I mean, he has first of all he has shown that he doesn't have a lot of longevity because he's been getting hurt a lot. But I think that for me, I want to see the 21, the 22-year-old, the 23-year-old, players. That those are just like you see, like for instance, Barcelona. With the La Masia. I mean, all those guys, Lami Yama, obviously Lami Yama it's who you to talk about, but you got Kubasi, you got Fernando Fermin, you have Gavi, you got Piri. Those guys are young players, and they use that opportunity to to showcase those guys. And I feel like that's one thing that I feel like I'm not seeing with the MLS. I mean, they are very
Because
smart.
I
They
mean,
are very smart people. They know what they're doing, and I hope that they prove me wrong. So that's the only thing I'm seeing. It was just like, yes, enter Miami plays. The tickets are very expensive, but when you go watch Cincinnati play a New York a Chicago Fire, it's the tickets are very affordable. That's what I'm saying. It just like what's the other star power? How they promoting the other star to make sure that when Messi is done, as we know, Messi might retire next year or might retire in 2 years, and
no,
might finish
I think
his
if he
contract.
stays, I think if he stays in the MLS, he could play up to 65 years old. I think he'll be fine. If he stays in the MLS.
Yeah, but it's not gonna have that star power though, right? That's what I'm saying. I feel like for me, this is where I am. When it's just like when La Liga had Messi and Ronaldo in them, and those guys have the whole world watching La Liga. I think the Spanish league did a really good job promoting other players like the Koke of the world, the other players. I mean, think about it. The Spanish team was on top of the world when those guys were in their primes. So that's the only thing. I hope that the MLS has a game plan with life after Messi because I think for right now it's good from a business standpoint. It makes sense to capitalize on Messi presence and also Messi is also delivering on the field too. So this is great now, but I just want to make sure that they have a plan after Messi because I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know who they're gonna bring when Messi retired to fill that stadium. I mean, have you seen pictures of the stadium they're gonna build in Miami? It's
It's a big
crazy.
stadium.
Yeah.
A
So
big stadium.
what I'm saying is, yeah, that stadium probably gonna be full the next 2 years. But what after that? I mean, when you're looking at the makeup of my Inter Miami team, I mean, you think Rodrigo De Paul people gonna come out and watch Rodrigo De Paul play? Come on now. That's what I'm saying. It just, I mean,
No, I
man,
think on a serious note, coach. I mean, what you're saying is valid. I guess people are buying a product. No, Messi's the product. That's what they're selling. Let's be honest here. I think the real challenge will be next year. I think the World Cup, depending on how the U.S. performs, is gonna determine how the MLS will perform over the next few years. I think if the U.S. plays extremely well, if they end up even winning the World Cup, I'm not saying it's impossible. Let's assume that the US ends up winning that World Cup, and you're
Hmm.
gonna have some major young players. The US has a lot of strong young players in it, and if you can convince those players to not go to Europe and stay and play soccer in America, then you could start building that bench strength that you've been talking about. But
Yeah,
as long as those American players are going to Europe and playing there, it for me it hurts the MLS because you're unable to retain the talent needed in order to grow that league. And I think that's the challenge
yeah.
that MLS faces.
No, I mean, listen, I'm okay with those guys going to. I'm okay with those guys going into going to Europe, right? If Europe is the best league, that's the Champions League by far is the most important tournament, in the world. So I'm okay with those guys, when they start getting their feet wet, they go. But what I'm saying is, you can still build up those guys here, and then they follow them to Europe. That's the problem. Let's say that you got a player that is very good at Inter Miami. You can build them up, and then you can build them up, and then they buy him to play at Real Madrid. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So my point is, they're not taking that opportunity for other people to see the talent that we have in the U.S. because of that. Now everybody's watching the MLS and say, "Hey, look at the talent that we have in the U.S." So those big clubs can buy him, and then they can come back. I'm okay. That's one thing I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing that they're promoting those young talent in the U.S. and then to make sure that they get the exposure, and then now they'll be like, "Oh, this guy is playing in the MLS. Oh, this is great." Think about it. Thiago Almada playing for Argentina. He played for Atlanta for a long time, right? He even won the World Cup with Argentina. Now he's playing for Atletico Madrid. But what I'm saying is, when he was playing in the MLS, they never mentioned him. You didn't even know he was playing in the
But
MLS.
he won the World Cup.
But
That's
when
the
I'm
kicker.
Yeah, but he won in the World Cup. He didn't even play in the World Cup. He was on the bench. He was just on the roster. But what I'm saying is, now he's playing. Now they realize that, oh man, this guy is really good. But when he was playing for Atlanta, he didn't get the exposure that he should have got for people to be like, man, you guys got this type of talent playing in the U.S. There's a lot of Argentines like Allende. If Allende was not, no, you got Allende, you got Silvetti. If those two guys were not playing for Inter Miami, because they play next to Messi, and that's the only way you know that they play in the MLS, you will never know those guys are playing in the MLS. That's where I am. That's where I am. I mean, you can just not focus the league only on one player. And like I said, if Allende or Silvetti was playing for Orlando, you would never heard about them. The only reason they get the exposure is because they play for Inter Miami. And
That
then
makes
and then
sense.
and then I guarantee that and Silvetti next year he probably get a contract in Europe. Allende probably gonna get a contract in Europe. I mean, he came from Europe. He came from Santa Vigo, but everybody know about him when he played for Inter Miami. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, I feel like the love is not well spread out. So people need to be like, man, those are the type of talents that we have playing in the MLS. So the MLS is a serious league. So we need to go and watch those guys. It's not about Messi. We need to go watch those guys. So anyway, that's where I'm saying it's just like, I don't feel that way. Maybe they have other plans. I believe they're smart guys. They know what they're doing, but that's one thing that I'm seeing from far. Anyway, so staying in the U.S., so Chelsea won the first expanded Club World Cup this summer. So overall, what would your take of that Club World Cup?
I think it was a great tournament. I think at first I was a little bit skeptical. I didn't understand it. There were so many teams. I was confused with the fact that Barcelona wasn't in it. We didn't have Yamin Yamal. Obviously, the guys like you're a coach, you know it better than I do. But I feel like there were teams like I didn't understand why Inter Miami, was in the tournament. obviously from a commercial standpoint, yeah, Messi's there. You got to sell tickets. I got that. Um, and then for me, it started really slow, and gradually I got into it. And this tournament ended up being a full success. It became a very good tournament. We were talking about it during our podcast. I was reading with my dad and my son. Were watching those games. Then PSG didn't win. I wanted them to win. They didn't win, but Chelsea did a great job winning the tournament. So I think it was fun. I actually cannot wait for the next Club World Cup and see what's going to happen. So I think it was a success, honestly.
Yeah, you're right. I think it started really slow, and I think because there was so much going on at the time.
Yeah.
We got the FIFA World Club. We had the Gold Cup happening at the same time in the U.S. as well too. So which they did do a great job promoting. So there were so many games happening, and then when you start going in the later stage of the tournament, it started become more interesting because now the big dogs were playing against each other, right?
Hmm.
You have a um, Real Madrid against PSG, I believe in the semifinal, quarterfinal. I don't remember, but so and then it got better and better. And I think one thing that they did really well, it just the last three games happened in one place in New York. So, and I think by funnel all the games in one area, I think that the fans or the same fans that were going to the same game. So I think it was a good tournament. The players showed up because the talent level was very high because that was, and then I like the fact that the teams brought the stars because that's one of my
Yeah.
biggest concern because it was such a long season. So I was afraid that the team were not gonna bring all the stars to play in that tournament because those guys needed vacation. So I thought that they were gonna bring the B teams, but they actually brought the stars and kind of give us a prelude to the World Cup coming next year. So there's a lot of things to learn. We saw that European teams struggle a lot with the heat. So they struggle a lot with the heat. So and it's gonna be around the same time the World Cup gonna be. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's good news for the South American, the Caribbean team because we know we used to that type of heat in the summertime. So I don't know if it's an advantage for us, especially with Haiti playing Scotland and Boston. Maybe the heat could be in our favor. So, but anyway,
We'll need more than that, coach. you know.
wishful thinking, man. Wishful thinking. But anyway, but that's one factor that we saw. And just like those guys struggle a lot with the heat. But so we'll see. I'm with you. It was a good tournament. It was a good spectacle, and as soccer fans, as football fans, we love it. We got to
Yeah.
watch. We got to watch more football, so it was great. So did you know that? And they want to have the next one in the U.S. again.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think the we have the infrastructure, we have the venues, right? We have everything that's needed to be successful. And if the way I see the World Cup happening here, and I think it's going to be a very successful World Cup,
Hmm.
I don't see why not. And if you think about the next Messi, you think about MLS. I think everything that we're doing here in the States is about the next 10 to 15 years, right? And you
Hmm.
need to be able to feed that consumer base. From a business standpoint, that's something that I have to say that here in America, we do extremely well. We can anticipate a need, we can nurture the need, and we can feed the beast. If now the American audience wants soccer, give them soccer. We should have every single tournament here in America, honestly, for the next 10 years, just in time for us to be able to replace the Messis of the world or to build the next Messi.
Yeah.
Because honestly, what happens is like the same story. You have your kid who plays soccer, but who's also multi-talented, and once they become of age, they have to pick up sport. They either go play football, basketball, of baseball because there's more money in those sports. So I think if we can kind of build that joy or make this sport attractive, and the only way it's going to become attractive is by generating more income. If you can
Yeah.
compete with those other sports financially, if you can give those deals, you can pay those players more money, they're not going to be willing to go to Europe. They're going to stay right here in America, and they're going to choose to play soccer, which is going to give us a chance to win a World Cup within the next 10 years.
Yeah, but yeah, I think you made a great comment here. It's you know what you were saying about when you have if you're raising a kid here and then your kid get to play multiple sports, and then when it comes down to pick a sport at the end of the day, they're gonna pick, if they're very talented in both soccer and football, they're gonna take football. If they have talents in basketball because of the money factor. So, which, and I think that's one important comment that you make is, if the MLS start opening up the books, so have a lot of sponsors, so they can pay, those upcoming players, the 21, the 22 players, like big money, just like they do in football or basketball. So now you can have a different type of kids now interested in playing football, soccer, right? So because I think that's one thing that the MLS, when you're looking at the making of the MLS roster, is a lot of foreigners, and a lot of foreigners, and also not a lot of kids from the inner city, right? So and those are the things. Those are the things that we can capitalize on, the Messi of the world, so we can have all these we generated all these incomes. Now we can pay people top notch money, so you don't have to go overseas or choose a different sport. When they get and when they get to pick what sport they need to do, so we can have better kids, because that's how you're gonna get the true talents to play, and then also gonna be good for the American team, and so on. So yeah, you absolutely right. Also, the Copa America in 2028 supposed to also come back to the U.S. again. So they're gonna have the 2028 Copa America in the U.S. again, after the last Copa America was also held in the U.S.
Can I add one more thing, Coach? I think that's a very important topic. The money situation that's happening here.
Yeah,
Now with the new regulations with college rules, the NIS, money, like
the
uh,
NIL.
yeah, NIL money. Sorry,
Yeah,
that now students are allowed to get paid. You have universities paying students to play for them.
yeah,
They're getting endorsement deals, right? They're making millions. And what happened last week, and I'm sure you read that article, you have NBA players deciding to go back to college to play
yeah,
because financially it makes more sense for them
yeah,
to go to college. So this is what's happening here. College is becoming a business. There's a lot of money. You have a lot of kids that are going to the draft already becoming millionaires while in college. So
yeah,
it's like, now my question to you is, do are we paying the same amount of money to those soccer college players? I don't think so. I don't think soccer is can even compete with football and basketball today. And I think this is the challenges that we are going to have to face, within those that love the sport. I think that's something that the MLS is going to have to probably lobby for or against it, because I think that's where you control talent.
yeah.
That's where you can attract talent, is be able to compete at the same level playing field with all those other sports.
Yeah. So my opinion, that's only my opinion. I would, it. You can have football in college. You can have basketball in college. I would take that away. I would not have that in college for soccer. I would have mostly academies, and then from the academies, and those guys go play in the MLS. I think my biggest thing that I see here, we play a lot of soccer, but we're not connected, right? So you have the MLS next, you have the USL, which is the league after the MLS. So we have all, and you have college soccer, you have high school soccer, you have all the soccer being playing, but it's not like but they don't funnel to one thing. It's not like the kids that play high school soccer be like, oh, eventually I'm gonna go to the MLS, or the kid that play college say, "Oh, I'm gonna play college so I can go to the MLS." It doesn't work like that in soccer, and I think that's one thing that we have to change. So for me, is why, because when you think about it, the kids that play in high school, I mean, even from AAU, his dream is to go to the NBA, right? Even if he's doing 7-on-7, his dream is to go to the NFL, and then he had all these avenue to all these paths to get there. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that black and white with soccer in the U.S. And so you got kids that play college, and after that they don't get drafted to the MLS. They go to MLS next, and then some of them are playing the USL, and then even playing the USL, it's not like your team's gonna go get promoted to the MLS. So you just stay stagnant. So
Hmm.
so in my opinion, because there's so much to it, I feel like, all MLS teams should have academies, and all those players are going to those academies, and then just like you have the La Masia, the way they do it, I think they need to use the same framework they have in Europe when it comes to soccer, or Europe or South America. It just, those kids go to academies, and from the academies they get promoted to the senior team, and then they do it like that. But
No.
you're right. You're right. It's not the money, the NIL money. It's not the same for soccer, because soccer, you have 10,000 at most. The stadium have probably 10,000 seats. Whereas in football, they have 30, 40,000. If Michigan got 100,000 seats. So there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money in those sports. So that's why they can afford paying those kids that much
Hmm.
money. Yeah, and you're right. There's one kid right now is making more money. There's one kid right now, one receiver right now in college that's making more money than a receiver in the NFL.
That's crazy, man.
That's crazy.
I think
So
that's hurting the game, though. I personally
yeah.
think so.
So Ale, so obviously, let's be we let's say that Football Unfiltered has to give people award based on what happened this year. So, in your opinion, if you're looking at what you saw in 2025, who you think so if we're looking at what was the team that was the most satisfying, what was the most disappointing team that you saw this year, or and let's see if you want to provide some award, who you will give your award to.
Yeah. So team of the year. So team of the year for me, it will be PSG, um, because of what we talked about earlier, what they had to overcome. When you look at their journey, their history over the last 5 to 10 years, and to see them win all the way and even almost winning the Club World Cup.
Mhm.
Yeah, they lost in the finals, but they had a decent performance, right? I would definitely say PSG for me will win that award, team of the year. I think the most disappointing team last year for me was Real Madrid. I think coming from a stronger year they had in 2024, I was expecting them to do much better, especially
Mhm.
with Mbappe joining the team, but they didn't get there. So it's just a matter of the expectations. Yes, we had way worse teams than Real Madrid. Come on, you have Manchester United, you have a lot of other teams who perform poorly, but I was expecting, I would say, Mbappe joining the group with Vinny, this combination with Rodrigo and all that stuff happening. I was expecting them to do better last year.
So, what was your biggest surprise?
My biggest surprise for the year was like Chelsea winning the Club World Cup. I wanted PSG to win it.
Yeah,
I was almost 99% sure that PSG was going to win it. I
yeah.
was disappointed that they lost. So it's like Chelsea came out of nowhere and won it. Um, and I said, what's the deal with Chelsea? What's their story? So I was not expecting that at all.
So what player was the most disappointing for you last year?
The most disappointing player for me was, man, I hate to say it, but I would say Vinny. I feel like him having such a strong year in 2024, I feel like, again, this is where we go and talk about leadership, right? We talk about, you being a very skillful and talented player. I'm expecting you to adapt and lead the group
Hmm.
to make these things work. I know sometimes we love to point out the coach failures and blame the coaches for everything, but I feel like with Mbappe coming over, all those players that he had, Vinny almost winning the Ballon d'Or last year, I was
Yeah.
expecting him to create that kind of chemistry and then kind of lead, sometimes step out, of the clout. You don't need to have, you don't need to be the topic of conversation every single week. You don't need
Right.
to be the one being a distraction on the field. He reminded me of Neymar last year. Again, this is a whole different conversation, but that's what I'm talking about. A lot of those young players, they're very wealthy, and I feel like this sense of entitlement. And I have a problem with players that feel entitled to
Yeah.
things,
Hmm.
and I rather you lead behind the scenes, be the driving force, and that's why again I feel like Dembele was the exemplified some of the leadership values that we value that we talk about all every day. So yeah, Vinny was a disappointment for me last year.
So I'm gonna finish with this one. What was the biggest story of 2025?
Man, I don't want to say Haiti winning the going to the World Cup again, right? I don't want to be biased to that, but the biggest story for me remains, and because of the historical context that we're living in, because of those adversity, I want to go back to again Haiti qualifying for the World Cup in 2025. You know, I think the people need to understand that we played all of our away games in a different country. We were unable to
All of
play
our home games.
all of our
All of
home
our
games.
home
Sorry, all
games.
of our
Yeah.
home games in a different country. Um, we didn't have our crowd. We had a few folks that were able to make able to assist us, but we were pretty much with new players, a different coach that has never been in the country. I mean, the odds were against us, and for me, the last qualifying game, us winning that game, the first and second goals, and pushing that qualification up for me was by far the most memorable event in 2025 for me.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on all of them. So yeah, that was the biggest story for me. Haiti qualifying to the World Cup, and like I said, we don't want to go back and talk about the context and
Yeah.
what he meant for Haiti to qualify. But yeah, I'm with you. So hey, I like your awards, man. I think you were spot on the awards, and so now 2025, it's almost over. So what to watch in 2026?
Mbappe, man. I think Mbappe is a player that we need to watch closely. Um, I think he's getting his groove back. I think he's enjoying the time in Real Madrid. I think he always wanted to play for that team. I feel like they're rallying against him. Yes, they have ups and downs. You will say they can't be perfect, but he's having an impressive season. No
Yeah,
one can deny him that.
yeah.
There may be some pieces missing within the team, but the player is doing a great job. And I think that's a great way for him to get ready for the 2026 World Cup. I think
Hmm.
he's going to be fierce. He's going to be relentless. I think if he wins um, the UEFA Championship this year, I think he's going to even put France in a higher, better position to honestly win the World Cup. So I think a player to watch for me is Kylian Mbappe, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot going on in 2026. So we have obviously the World Cup. That's the biggest tournament. Obviously, the Champions League, like you mentioned earlier. We have the Finalissima between Argentina and Spain in March. Yeah, I mean, we can't wait to get started, man, in 2026. So there's a lot. There's a lot of football. There's a lot of football to look forward to. In the next couple of months, and we wanna be with you guys with Football Unfiltered uh, along the way with you guys as you're enjoying the football that's gonna be playing in 2026. So we see it as a big year for us as well too. So that will be our second year since we started. So we have 1 year in the book, so second year, so we can't wait. We can't wait to get it going and share with you guys our insight and what we think, and hopefully, you never know. Maybe have a Football Unfiltered episode, uh, during the World Cup. With
Yes,
the other
yes.
with the live, let's say a live version with all the fans. So, but obviously, this is almost the end of the show. We want to wish all of our viewers and supporters that's been with us. We want to tell you guys thank you for all your support, and we want to wish you a happy new year, 2026. May 2026 even be better for you than 2025. And we can't wait to do it with you guys. And hopefully, Football Unfiltered going to continue to bring you joy and make you laugh, especially when we start talking about Neymar and so on. Make you laugh and have a great time. So that's what we do. Our job is to bring joy to you guys, and we will continue to do it in 2026. As always, Alain, thank you. You're my co-host, and thank you for all your time. And this is my time to wish you a happy new year. We wanted to finish the 2025 on a bang, and we did that today. So, I want to wish you and your family a happy new year, and we continue to get football unfiltered.
Thank you, Coach. Happy New Year to you and your family. I would like to thank our fans, our supporters. I know Alex is not here today, he's traveling, but hey, thank you for your support. Dr. Durandis, also thank you for your support. We had last year a lot of different coaches, a lot of soccer fans that were able to participate on our show. We thank them for their time, their contributions. Again, everybody is doing their best to kind of bring their perspective in, but most importantly, it's you guys, the fans. Without you guys, we don't have a show. So it gives us the momentum that we need, the encouragements that we need to keep, putting the context together and share a perspective with you guys. So thank you. Have a happy holidays. So 2026 will be better. I know for a lot of us, we're going through some things, but we need to continue to remain hopeful. Let's
Yep.
continue to have faith. And then anything that we can do, better on the show, we're welcoming any types of input and feedback from our supporters. All right. So, Coach, thank you for the opportunity, man. I appreciate our shows. I appreciate the time I spent with you online. Happy holidays again and have a great year.
All right. Hey, before we go, I wanna send a big congratulations to my nephew Chris on graduating from Florida State. Even though I'm a Miami fan, but I'm gonna do the Florida State chop, man. Hey, Chris, that's big time, man. Big time. We're proud of you, and continue to make the family proud. And so, big shout out to you, Chris, man. So we'll see you.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it, man. One love.